That's all you want to do. You guys fed the shit
For this
out of it.
week, we will be covering Chapter 14, Preparing for Aging, Death, and Dying. We start with this chapter first because we can understand the importance of taking care of our health or the negative consequences we might suffer from as we age. Our chapter objectives are to define aging and list the characteristics of successful aging, discuss the biological and psychosocial theories of aging, summarize major physiological changes that occur as a result of the normal aging process, and discuss unique health challenges faced by older adults. We're going to start by discussing what is aging. Aging is defined as the patterns of life changes that occur in members of all species as we grow older. So we know that animals age, we age, the planet Earth ages. Gerontology is a study of individual and collective aging processes. It explores the reasons for aging and how people cope with this process. When we look at gerontology, we come up with 4 different theories of aging. The first theory is the wear and tear theory. It says, like everything else in the world, the human body wears out. The more we abuse our bodies, the faster we will age. The cellular theory says at birth we only have a certain number of usable cells, programmed to reproduce a limited number of times. So the more we kill off these cells, the less likely they are to reproduce themselves, causing disabilities, illness, and so forth. The genetic mutation theory says the number of body cells exhibiting unusual or different characteristics increase with age. So the more mutated cells we have, the higher the chance our organs will not function properly as we get older. The fourth theory is autoimmune theory. It attributes aging to the decline of the body's immune system. It says as we age, we produce less antibodies. This lessened production of antibodies, we are weakening our immune systems and eventually leading to an early death. It makes us more susceptible to catching disease and different illnesses. Next, we're going to look at the physical and mental changes of aging. We know that as we age, it affects our skin, bone and joints, head and face, urinary tract, heart and lungs, senses, and sexual function in both men and women. You can see this diagram highlights some of the major areas and what's going on. The head and brain, the skull is thickening and the head size increases. Our hair, sometimes we may go bald. It will usually turn gray and become thinner. Eyesight can vary, but typically our ability to see close objects diminishes. The skin becomes thinner, less elastic as we age. Our poor little heart stroke volume diminishes, meaning that we can't push the same amount of blood out that we could before. In reproductive systems, in women, menopausal drop in estrogen levels can cause hot flashes or mood swings. In men, testosterone levels drop, and the ability to attain and maintain erection decreases, which is why they have all those pills out there. We also know that typically our hearing tends to diminish and we can only pick up low frequency sounds. With our face, it's kind of interesting. Our bone structure can change. Our nose and earlobes can become longer. We get wrinkles from years of facial expressions and sun exposure. Our lungs, our capacity declines, so we can't take in as much oxygen or our body can't use it as efficiently. Bones and joints, we know that if we don't take care of our bones now and take in a lot of calcium and make them thick and dense, they will lessen over the years. And then our urinary system, our bladder's capacity declines, so we may find that we have to go to the restroom more often than we do now. We also want to look at mental function and memory. Oftentimes, when we're dealing with the older population, we hear of a lot of dementias and Alzheimer's disease. Dementias are progressive impairments that interfere with memory and normal intellectual functioning. Alzheimer's disease is a chronic condition involving changes in nerve fibers of the brain that result in mental deterioration. So maybe the fibers can't fire like they used to, they're firing in the wrong spots, the synapses are messed up, deteriorating, different things can go on there. So the key to maintaining memory is keeping our mind active. So think about what different things can we do to keep our mind sharp. We find that people who engage in reading, solving mental puzzles, and learning to play musical instruments have a better chance of keeping their memory sharp. doing a daily crossword puzzle, things like that. Even video games can help with this, depending on what type of game it is. So then we're going to look at what are life-enhancing measures. How can we age-proof our body? The first couple things we will address is challenging your mind. We know that it's important to keep our mind sharp, and that older adults who stay mentally active have a lower risk of developing dementia. So again, reading, doing puzzles, learning a language, and studying music help. We also want to develop physical fitness. So this will enhance both our psychological and physical well-being. It'll help increase bone density. It'll allow our heart to function more efficiently, keep our blood pressure low, cholesterol levels low, helps diminish those mutated cells we may be carrying around or prevent the spread of them. We also want to eat wisely, so nutrition plays a big role in our lives, making sure we eat a variety of nutrient-rich foods, anything green, those leafy vegetables, fruit, lean protein like fish, all help. And they can also help keep our mind sharp as well. Maintaining a healthy weight. We know that if we get overweight or become too heavy and fall into the obesity category, lots of illnesses are really linked to obesity, such as diabetics, heart attacks, heart problems, high cholesterol levels. So maintaining a healthy weight is important. We want to make sure we expend more calories through exercise and cut our caloric intake, or a combination of both, to stay in our normal range. And we'll find out that as we age, our dietary needs and physical activity needs change as well. We also want to control drinking and overdependence on medications. So we don't want to become dependent on a med that we're taking. When we're younger, we don't really think that what we do will affect our body as we age and get older. But definitely controlling drinking, making sure that we limit the amount of alcohol we take in, keeps our liver healthy and lots of other things, keeps our blood pressure down. Avoid smoking. We don't need to discuss that too much. I think it speaks for itself. We want to keep those lungs healthy. We want to keep the body functioning. We want to prevent the chance of cancer. We want to make sure we schedule physical examinations to detect treatable diseases. A lot of times, if we just stay on top of our exams, we'll be able to catch diseases earlier enough that we can actually do something about them. And that includes cancer as well. We also want to recognize and reduce stress. If we're high-strung, running around all the time, our blood pressure is going to be higher, our heart rate's going to run naturally higher. Stress can have a negative effect on our sleep patterns. If we don't sleep, we may eat unhealthy to deal with our stress, likely to gain weight. So when you look at older adults, it is a growing population. The life expectancy for a child born in 2011 is 78.4 years, over 30 years longer than for a child born in 1900. You want to think about the reasons why this is. We'll think about our medical field. We now can prevent diseases, we can treat cancer, we can fight off a lot of things that we couldn't back then. We also don't have communicable diseases spreading as much as we did in the 1900s. We don't get the influenza, and it takes out half our population. Today, there are about 39.6 million people aged 65 and older, making up 12% of the population. So that's a pretty large hunk. By 2030, the older population is expected to be twice as large as in 2008, growing to 72.1 million and representing 19.3% of the population. So with this growing older population, I want you to think, what are health issues that we might come across for the aging society? Take a look at healthcare costs. With Obamacare, we're facing a whole new world of how we're going to treat illnesses. Socialized healthcare system. How is this going to affect insurance rates? I think we can already tell they're going to shoot up because we're going to cover a lot of people that can't afford them right now. We also want to look at housing and living arrangements. Where do all these people go? Are they still functional enough to live at home? Do they have live-in nurses? Are the children taking care of them? I want you to examine your life right now. What if you do have your parents living with you, or if you had to take them in, how would that affect your world? Would your stress level rise? Could you financially take care of them? What are your other options? Can you live in a home of some sort? What they used to call old folks' home are not the same as they are anymore. There's now communities for active people that, create a very social sense of well-being and environment. They interact with each other, they have events. It's a whole new world. And then ethical and moral considerations. This one's kind of borderline sketchy. We start to look at different things. Questions have surfaced regarding the efficacy of hooking up a terminally ill older person to costly machines that prolong life for only a few weeks. If this was you, would you like to live off a machine? Would you like to be unplugged? It's different things to consider. Those are the basic principles that we're going to discuss in this chapter for today. Keep in mind that you are responsible for reading the full chapter in depth from your text, as a lot of your quizzes and assignments will address more concerns.